Let's bring in our prospect guru over at CanucksArmy.com, Dave Hall, who joins us today here on this Wednesday edition of Canucks Conversation. Dave, are the Abbotsford Canucks going streaking? Is that what I'm seeing here?
They've been playing pretty well. They haven't been scoring a ton of goals, but they've their goalies have been lights out so far, and so far so good, I guess.
Okay, talk us through the goalies. Let's talk about Nikita Tolopilo, I guess, is who we're going to highlight, obviously, here. Talk us through him. Yuri Patera as well. What are we talking about here when it comes to the goaltenders in Abbotsford?
Yeah, so let's go Patera first, just because he got the shutout last night. So he had a brutal first start to his season. He let in 6 goals. I think it was 6 goals on 24 shots, I believe it was. And like, not that his defense was helping him out much, but he had a pretty bad start to his debut. But last night he bounced back with I think it was 24 save shutout. So he played well last night. I don't think there was any. There was maybe like 1 or 2 saves. Like if you read the Farmies, there was maybe 1 or 2 saves in there that were like top notch. Probably should have been a goal. Otherwise, it was just a pretty straightforward performance. Tolopilo on the other end, he's bailed them out. So he's 3-1-0, but he's basically bailed them out almost every single game. So, and like, it's not so much that it's like a defensive breakdown every single game. He just seems to be so calm and composed between the net, and doesn't even matter how hard the opportunity is. He seems to be stopping them all.
So far in Abbotsford, who surprised you, whether it's for better or for worse? Who stood out as far as, okay, this player's played a lot better or a lot worse than I expected so far?
Well, that's a pretty big easy one, to be honest. I think Klimovich is probably at the top of that list. You know, there's no way to sugarcoat it. We all know last year it was just a disaster of a season. This is purely speculating, but there was very clearly a disconnect between the player and the coach last year. And even when he was inside or actually getting minutes inside the lineup, he was 4th line role. He was for some reason not getting power play time. And at this point, we know what Klimovich pretty much is, and that's he's an offensive guy. If he's not getting those looks, then he's not going to be thriving. And so far this year, what happens? Manny Malhotra comes in. He's on the power play. He's getting top 6 minutes with Ty Mueller and Max Hassan. And he's now co-leading the team in goals with 2, co-leading with points with 4. And he has the most shots in the team with, I believe, 24. And not only that, he's looking dangerous. He's actually going out there and actually providing offense, which is just something we just didn't see at all last year. So while I'm not gonna, go on a limb and say, he's back, there's definitely still some warts. I mean, he's still so young at 21. But I still just don't know if you're ever gonna really, instill that hockey IQ into his game. Because even when he's doing everything he can, he still has moments where you're just like, come on, man. Like, that's the easy play right there. But by all accounts, he's definitely been the surprise. Also, just really quickly, another player, every guy, whether you're a prospect guy or not, I think I can go on a limb and say everyone's got their quote unquote guy. And if you read me last year, I'm sure Quads was getting sick of editing my stuff, but Ty Mueller was kind of my guy. And so far, he's kind of proven me right. So I'm kind of giving myself a pat on the back here. But
say it proudly.
It's not just me. There's clearly something that this organization is seeing in him. Like, they took him as a double overager, a double entry in the 4th round. So that's just right away. Clearly, they saw something in his game that they liked. He comes into camp this year. Rick Tocchet actually calls him out specifically, saying he's liked his game. He was given stints in the preseason. He goes down to Abbotsford, starts as the 3rd line center. By game 2, he's already the 2nd line center. He's now moved to the wing, but he's seeing top 6 minutes, power play time, and penalty kill at 21 years old as a rookie. And I think he's up at 54% on his faceoff percentage. So all in all, he's doing, like, do I think he's going to be, the next greatest thing? No, but he's at least surprised me as a rookie coming in as a 21-year-old rookie. He's actually looked pretty good and solid. And obviously Manny Malhotra agrees. So Pat, let's go.
You've been on the David Quadrelli School of Victory Laps. I love it, David.
Yes.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. We've got a lot of questions for you in the chat. This one from regular listener of the show, Karen Versation. We saw Tom Willander getting some love in the NCAA last week. Karen Versation's question in the chat is, please tell me Willander is going to save the right side of the Canucks defense come spring.
Put a gun to my head. Hey, like, it's yeah, like, okay. I will say that, so the big questions heading into this year were, we know the defensive game is quite polished. We know the skating is incredible. Obviously, it was the stick handling and decision making. There's just still some work. I got to say, I have been quite impressed with his stick handling ability this year. He's really shown an ability to walk the line. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen my just little clips of him walking the line. Like, even when he's scoring those goals, he's just doing a much better job with the stick handling. I will address, I feel like I have to talk about it because every single time I post anything about Tom Willander, all I get is he PP1 yet? Is he, top line? Like, coming into this year, obviously, we were kind of hoping he was going to be given the keys. Lane Hudson gone. Here's the new guy. We get the first game and he's second line pairing. Okay, great. The first penalty happens. We're crossing our fingers for PP1. And of course, he's stuck behind another Hudson and Cole Hudson. But we watched that power play, and it doesn't take a rocket science to see why he's behind Cole Hudson. He is a carbon copy of his older brother, and he's just strictly offense. He's so gifted offensively. And Tom Willander, although he's flashy and he's fun to watch, he's not really that guy. He's good on the power play, but he's not a pure offensive defenseman. So you can kind of see why Cole Hudson is getting that PP1. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's no Macklin Celebrini. There's no Lane Hudson. Last year, they would hog about a minute and a half of that power play. This year is not really that case. So while he's not PP1, Willander's still getting tons of time on the power play. And at even strength, he's averaging about 21 minutes per game. And on Saturday, I'm pretty sure he almost hit 24 minutes as the second most on the team. So he's still getting tons of ice time and top penalty kill, top shutdown minutes. So I just kind of wanted to address that, just about the minutes. Like, he's still getting tons of minutes. Yes, okay. He's not top line everything, but yeah, I don't know if he comes and say, I think he's looked really good. It's only been 5 games. I mean, he's on a 5-game point streak, so that's good to know. But so far so good. I mean, I think he's definitely going to turn pro. And so I went a little overkill there, but I just wanted to address the ice time because I get it almost every single day. So
what did you say were the deficiencies in his game?
Just like, there's just some puck handling stuff. Like, it almost seems like his hands work quicker than his brain, or his brain works quicker than his hands, I guess. Like, okay. It just, there's some bobbles. Some of his reads were just a little off in terms of like offensive stuff. And so those are just like, it's just basically the offensive stuff that you just kind of were a little off, but he seemed
okay. But can he do those things better than Vincent Desharnais? Like, that's the question here, right? Like, in my head, the way you're describing him, what I've seen from him, your work's great, obviously, over at Canucks Army, and I read all of it. Like, I watched the tape of him and I know it's the NCAA, but I'm like, oh man, like he might have some deficiencies, but man, so does the other guys on the Canucks blue line right now.
I mean, look at Eric Brandstrom, like, he's the case in point, right? Like, he's got deficiencies for days, and all of a sudden he comes in and he looks like Quinn Hughes out there, because we have such, like, we look at David Desharnais, the comparable. So Vincent Desharnais.
That's a throwback. That was a throwback that David Desharnais pulled. But yeah, you're right. Like, you're absolutely right. And that's the way I look at it. Like, I keep thinking to myself, when are we going to see the Brandstrom Willander pairing? We think he might turn pro this year, so obviously it might happen toward the back half of the year. But another one from the chat, Dave, and I'll let Harmon get a question in here as well. But this one from Benjamin Andrews, who, and we'll say other than Willander, because you just talked about him, who among the Canucks NCAA prospects excites you the most?
That's a good question, actually. I just had this on my Blackfish comments section as well. And to be quite honest, I think there's no easy answer here. Now that Ty Mueller is gone, and now my guy's out of the NCAA, there's not much. I mean, I like elements of Jackson Dorrington's game. He's obviously a brute force shutdown defenseman. I just don't know if he brings enough to the table to actually warrant him to be, an exciting full-time NHLer. So I think the answer has to be Aku Koskinen-Vuo. He's been fantastic. The sample size is still a little way too small. He's still got a long way to go. Like, he hasn't turned pro yet. He hasn't even started his season yet. So we'll see how it goes with, he should be getting a lot of starts this year, but I think he has to be the guy, just based on what we've seen. There's not much left in the NCAA crop. So I think my easy answer is Aku.
How are Räty and Lekkerimäki looking?
Yeah, they look great. If you're a stat watcher and you see 2 points between the two of them, you're not going to like what you see, and you're going to say, "What's going on? They should be lighting it up." But the reality is Lekkerimäki's played 3 games, and I think he's third on the team in shots. Like I think at this point, you can just chalk him down for 5 shots, at least 5 shots a game. That line has been all over the place. Like I remember Rick Tocchet described Lekkerimäki as a buzzsaw, and that's exactly what he's been. He's working hard. No, he's not throwing any hits or overpowering people, but he's working extremely hard. He's coming up with pucks, he's dishing it out, and he's just shooting a ton. So he's come as advertised. He's just been a little bit snake bitten. He got he takes all these shots for days, all these howitzers, and then he gets the empty net right on the side of the net last night for his first of the season. So hopefully the monkey's off his back and he gets some more. But the two of them have looked fantastic. Räty, yeah, he's only got 2 points. He's doing all the little things right, though. He's on their top penalty killing. He's winning most of his draws. So you have to like what you've seen. Yeah, the points haven't come yet, but I'm not too concerned about the points, to be honest. So I think they both look fantastic.
How's Abbotsford configuring its defense right now? Like we talked about that crowded blue line, Dave. Like who's the odd man out in this lineup right now?
Well, to be honest, it started with Willander. Now they've been very hush hush. I've been trying to find this for a while now, but he was out for the entire season. He just made his debut last night. And so because of that was the easy answer. But then they also had Brandstrom come in for 2 games. It's been all over the place, to be honest. And because they have the veteran rule going on, their entire team, they do have quite a few veterans in the AHL, so they got to get a little fancy. But the nice thing that we love to see is Pettersson has basically claimed the second pair spot. He's playing PK minutes. He's looked really good. Kirill Kudryavtsev, he started as a 7th defenseman. He's now worked his way up right into the fold, and he's even played spots on the right side. And now with Mark Friedman out as of last night, I wouldn't be surprised if Kudryavtsev actually slides over to the right side tonight. So far we haven't seen Felton yet, and so basically that's just how it's worked. It's just been a lot of younger kids, to be honest, which is nice.
All right, Dave, great stuff as always. Thanks so much for joining us, and we appreciate you taking the time. We'll be sure to keep in touch and keep you in our rotation. We always go to you for our Canucks prospect stuff, and you can read more of Dave's stuff over at canucksarmy.com. Dave, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys.